one of the biggest things I have learned in the dating world, I don't really consider it dating, but in the talking world, it's not gonna be how you think. Like it, I think people have this idea of a picture perfect relationship, and it's never gonna be that. Like it's never gonna be absolutely perfect. Like it's always gonna be something wrong, and whether or not they want to fix it, now that's something completely different. But it's never gonna be like this. It's not gonna be like a movie. And I think that's what a lot of people expect, and that's why a lot of relationships fail, because they have this ridiculous expectation for something that's like it's a movie. It's made up. Like I don't know. That's like a really big thing. That's like, whew. Welcome to the Labor of Love podcast with your host, coach, speaker, and pastor Andre Ashford, alongside his co-host, licensed therapist and speaker Amber Ashford.
What's up, Labor of Love fam? We got a special episode today. Super excited to have this honored guest all the way from right here. We are welcoming our not so baby girl Jonyah to the podcast. Let's go. So y'all, my baby went and took her senior photos today. And I was asleep. Me and the baby was napping, but her mama sent a text message, said, "I'm about to cry." And it just hit that, man. Life be moving, man. It's the time be flying, and Jonyah is about to be a grown woman.
Yep.
Yeah. What you feeling? Because I know you was about to cry, but what you feeling?
Oh, gosh, it's surreal. I cannot wrap my mind around a baby being. Well, she's just a little lady now. She's a young lady, so.
Yeah. She getting on out of there. So I thought, what better way than to go ahead and record a pod on things you should be looking for before you get married. So I would say, wait. She thinking about getting married? No. These are things. Absolutely not. These are things that she should be looking for in any serious dating relationship if you think about investing your time in somebody. So without further ado, JJ, how you feeling, girl?
I feel good.
Huh?
I feel, so special to be on here.
You are. You special. You are blessing us.
The infamous Labor of Love podcast.
Infamous.
Because
it is. And living in purpose.
Yeah.
Not me.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, where y'all want to go with it first?
So I would just so the reality is there are a lot of things that people should consider if they are if they're dating for marriage. Like, let's be clear, we not out here just playing the field. And so for me, there are three things that are really important to me. Don't get me wrong, like everything else matters too. And for me, I'm just like, okay, what are the top three things that I think are really important when it comes to dating for marriage? And the first thing is values. Like, what does the person you're interested in, or y'all could already be in a relationship, but like, what are their values? And when I think about values, those are the things that are most important to you, those things that govern your decision making, and what role do they play in your life? So if you're saying, like, for example, your top three values are your faith, your family, and I don't know, maybe your mental health, but I don't never see you pick up a Bible or go to church or engage. Like I want to see how your life is in alignment with your values.
So basically, making sure that we on the same page about what's non-negotiable. Yeah. So like when you dating somebody, it should be established very early, like the things that you will not tolerate. Like if I'm gonna be spending time with you and investing my life with you, or whatever period of time it may be, I need to know that we on the same page when it come down to my spirituality. Hey, look, you know what I'm saying? God number one priority. Like, you know, you ain't got to be a preacher. You ain't got to be no usher, no deacon or nothing like that. But man, like you gotta actually have that on your priority list. Like, like we can't rock if I can't have a spiritual conversation with you. We can't rock because I believe everything in life flows from that. My relationship with God. Like, so what it look like me talking to you and you ain't thinking about it. You know what I'm saying? So I like that. I think values is another. I think that's my number one too. And when I say values, like I don't want nobody to just go to church.
That part.
I don't care that you go to church, because there are people who can go to church and there are people who can say they are Christian and they can say they love God, but their actions don't show that.
Yeah, they don't have a relationship with Him.
Ooh,
yeah.
Let me say that. I mean, just because somebody proclaimed to be Christian don't mean they got Christian values. Ooh, third time's the charm. I learned that from my old pastor. Let me say it one more time because y'all ain't missed it. I said, just because somebody go to church and say they Christian and their grandmama, big mama go to church, that don't mean they got Christian values. So what's Christian values? It's loving God. First commandment, the greatest one, loving God with your heart, soul, mind, and your strength. And the other one is loving people, loving others as you love yourself. And I can tell you got Christian values by the way you treat other folk. And here's the thing. Your Christian values is going to tell me a lot about your character. Because if you cussing folks out and you got your friends that you cuss out and you hang around and you say all that kind of jazz right to them, but you come and tell me, oh, no, I never say nothing like that to you. Or if you out cheating, right, you cheating on your girl trying to talk to me. Oh, Lord, somebody come get me. If you cheating on your girl, but you say you like me and you wouldn't cheat on me. No. If you weren't a cheater, you wouldn't cheat, period. Ooh, I said something then. I know how you gonna treat me. Based on the way you treat other folk. That's where your values really at. Your actions. If you say, no, I don't get mad easy, but you get mad easy with everybody else. If you quick temper with everybody else, but you say, since I'm your boo, you ain't gonna get mad. Nah, that's some lying there, because as soon as I do something you don't like, you're gonna treat me just like everybody else. My thing is, character is what you would do no matter who's watching and who's not watching. Your values are the same no matter if I'm watching you or not.
That's it.
Cool. What you got on it?
I definitely agree with y'all. You know, I don't think I have like much to add to it because like y'all are right. Like, you know, values are very, very, very important.
So what have you been seeing? Like, because I've been at this dating game for over 3 years.
About 15 years.
But what have you been seeing? Like, especially like, I can vividly remember high school dating. But like, what have you been seeing? Like, when it comes down to dating in your age range, like, what does it come down to? Like, people and in the realm of values or what they really about in your age range.
Right now, I don't really think it's many values involved. Like, people they're not dating to marry. They're just dating just to say, oh, they're dating someone. Or they're dating to do things with that person. And, you know, like, it's no values involved. It's more just like oh, yeah, like I just, you know, got me a little boo. Yeah, I got me a little, yeah.
What you think about that? Do you think that's appropriate right now, or what do you think?
I think because we're so young, it makes sense for it to be like that. I feel like the older we get, like the more serious some people get. Not everybody, but most people get like more serious the older they get. And so, like, I don't, you know. Yeah.
I can remember. I definitely didn't have seriousness on my mind at all. But I will say, I wish conversations like this was had with me. Yeah. Because Man, I went through some stuff I really didn't have to go through.
That part, yeah. And I'm curious, just a little hot seat question for you really quick. When it comes to values, would you say you're able to identify your top 5 or at least, or even your top 3? And it's okay if you say no, just curious to know.
I can definitely give you top 3.
Okay.
5, you ain't that quick on my feet. But definitely being a Christian, like actually being a Christian, like, like being in the word, not just, I'm a Christian. Yeah. I think loyalty is very important. Respect, not just for me, but for everybody. Like your family, like you have to have respect for everybody. Those are just my top 3.
Oh, that's a good top 3.
That is. I like it.
Yeah, that's a good top 3. So character definitely number 1 on values definitely number 1 on the list when it comes down to if I'm finna spend time with you, I need to know what you value.
I need to know what you value.
What's a priority for you?
And I also think it's important for that to be connected to who they are, like making sure they value themselves as well. So that's all I got.
You're gonna drop that heavy bomb and then just try to move on.
Well, I think we'll probably get into it as we go.
Okay, so, cool. So I would think my number 2 would be emotional intelligence. My number 2 would be, are you in tune with your emotions? Do you know what feelings are? Do you know how to express your feelings? And do you know where they come from? I dated, and it was my fault too. But I dated some people, man. That 0 to 100, that's too slow. It's like 0 to 1,000, like, and it was like one day you so happy, one day you so sweet, the next day I don't know who to look for. You know what I'm saying? Like you flip it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and then if somebody say what's wrong with you, you don't know. Somebody say, hey, what's really going? What you feeling right now? I don't know. I'm just mad. Okay, why are you mad? It's like talking to a toddler. You throwing tantrums. I'm like, use your words. I think that emotional intelligence and problem solving is one of the most important things. And conflict resolution. I think that's one of the most important things that a person is thinking about being serious with somebody else. You need to know how they act when they upset.
Oh, I promise.
Yeah. You need to intentionally push some buttons. I'm just being honest. I'm just being real. If they're always sweet and and you can't do no wrong, you need to try to push some buttons. Because I need to see who you are in the dark. And I ain't talking about Netflix and then chilling. I'm talking about I need to see who you are when the light ain't on, when the spotlight ain't on, when you think ain't nobody looking. I need to see how you handle the situation. Because if you don't have emotional intelligence, man, we see it on the news all the time. People will flip.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's my number 2, like just emotional intelligence, like know what the feelings are, why you feel that way, being able to express why you feel that way, and being able to navigate, like when you upset, being able to treat me still like a human being when you mad. Don't treat me like no dog. Don't try to dog me. Some of y'all treat your pets better than you treat the people you dating, and that's another situation. Oh, Poopa, come on, when you get mad, oh, Poopy peed in the floor. But somebody, say something out the way they ain't mean, and then you hit them with the, you a MF and you a B, and I'll piss on your grave type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think you gotta intentionally push them to the edge and see how far they'll go. That's my thing.
I think another way to kind of gauge the emotional intelligence piece is by saying no. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally be okay with saying no. And it can be anything. It could be something as simple as, hey, you're on the phone and y'all having a conversation and they want to talk longer and you're like, no, I'm going to go to bed. You know what I'm saying? Like, just literally just see how they respond when you enforce boundaries, because I think that says a lot about their emotional intelligence as well. And it starts at such a young age. And what I've learned, I think we were talking about this the other day, I feel like almost every time I'm either scrolling social media or, well, I don't watch the news, but if I'm reading like an article or anything, I'm always hearing about like road rage incidents or mass shootings happen. Like they're so frequent, and I literally had the thought, like, man, if these people were taught how to navigate their emotions at a young age, we probably wouldn't see so much. Like, not to say it wouldn't happen, but it just saddens me to see how people just do such a poor job managing their emotions. And I'm not saying it's everybody, of course. I definitely think a lot of it has to do like what they're putting in front of us. It still doesn't change the fact that people are just not aware. They're not aware of their emotions, their triggers, who they are. They were never taught that. It was always, suck it up, quit crying or whatever the case may be. And so now here I am, 21, 25, however old you are, and you don't know how to navigate your emotions, and you're turning around and you're doing the same thing. If you have children, like, you're repeating those cycles. So yeah, I think that's important.
Yeah, so you in the hot seat tonight. So
hot seat.
So like, what has your experience been like? So I know your mom has taught you like the value of setting boundaries, like, expressing you like, hey, I don't like when you do X, Y, and Z, so please don't do it. Like, what has your experience been when setting boundaries with other people? Like how's that been for you?
It has not always been a happy ending. Like when I set my boundaries, I think I'm gonna be specific. The last dude I talked to, there was no such thing as boundaries. It was kind of like a whatever. Like, I hear you, but I'm not hearing you for real. Like, so it was always a disagreement when I was like, no, I'm not rocking with that. It would like turn into something bigger than just, I'm not rocking with it. I think I have talked to some people that like respect my boundaries, like, okay, like, I won't do it, or I won't do it. They'd be like, oh, I won't do it around you. And they didn't. So, I mean, it was kind of like okay, like, I can get down with that. That's better than just you ignoring it completely. But yeah, that's kind of like where my boundaries are.
Wow, and that's something that you will start seeing a little less of the older you get. You will start being able to pinpoint like, oh, I expressed it one time, I expressed it two times. At a certain point, like, I see you ain't gonna change. So, but when you express a no to somebody, it really shows you if they love you or if they love what the relationship is doing for them. It'll express if they care about you or they care about what you do for them. So if I tell you no and I express a boundary, me knowing me emotionally, like, I know that triggers me, that make me upset, that hurt my feelings. Me expressing it to you, if you really care about me, even if it's something you've been doing your whole life, if you care about me, you will try your best to not do it. Case in point, me and my brother grew up checking. Like, we'll check the drawers off you. Like, Cam, if you watching, yeah, don't start nothing because I still know how. But anyway, but we'll join you, we'll check you, we'll flame you, right? And so that was a way that I had fun. But when I met your mom, I'm like, go on, man, little bobblehead. Then she'd be like, wait a minute, I don't like when you do that. That hurt my feelings. And I didn't agree. Like, why are you upset? It's just checking. I'm playing, but I understood. I'm like, okay, she expressed it in a way. She said, number one, I don't like that. It make me feel X, Y, Z. So I understood. So then I honored that boundary. You see what I'm saying? It was tough because I still had some checking in me. Every now and then I'd be like, hey, man, you better go ahead. But and you correct me if I'm wrong, there were leaps and bounds in the direction of honoring boundaries. And
yeah.
So, yeah, emotional intelligence, like, legit got to be there.
Mm-hmm. That's real. I would say my number 2 is kind of in the same vein, but not. Mine is more so like, what do they do for growth? And I think that's so important because the reality is, the man that I met, how long ago was it? It was like forever, maybe about 4. Yeah, you are not the same person I met about 4 or 5 years ago, however long it's been. I don't know. 4, yes, 4. And that's, I feel like that's supposed to happen. Like, we evolve. Anything that's not growing is dead. You know what I'm saying? We go through so many different things. We've gone through so many obstacles ourselves, in our marriage, that happened directly to us, or, it just impacted us maybe through somebody else, or whatever it may have been. Like, we've been through some stuff. And so as we experience life, we have to learn how to navigate different obstacles and challenges, and we have to be spiritually and mentally and emotionally sound, even physical, like, just stable in so many ways. And so for me, I think the second most important thing is, what do you do for growth?
Mhm.
Because if I'm intentionally working on my growth, one, it's showing the love that I have for myself, because we know the greatest commandment is to love the Lord God with all your heart, your soul, and your mind. And the second is to love others as you love yourself. So that tells me I gotta love self first. I gotta know who I am, and I have to be able to pour into me first and give from the overflow. And if I'm healthy, then I can be healthy then I can thrive in a relationship, essentially. Because the reality is, I'm not healthy for you, I'm healthy for me first. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, I think that's just so important. Like, man, are you spending time with God, right? Are you being intentional about, seeing a therapist if there are some things, some unhealed wounds that you've been dealing with? And even if it's not, like, what are you doing to just maintain? Are you reading? Are you pouring into yourself when it comes to your craft and professionally? Like, how are you growing? Because I don't want to look up and still, here we are, we've been together 20 years, and you still sitting up on the video game 3, 4, 5 hours at a time, ain't doing nothing with your life. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's real.
Ouch.
And like that's not that's not what you're doing, by any means. And at one point in time,
It was.
It was, you know what I'm saying? But now, just to see you listening to podcasts and listening to audiobooks as well as reading them, and, when you have free times, you're literally just making sermons just to have in your back pocket for a rainy day. Like, yeah, you ain't the same little dude.
Nah. So, Jay, what are you doing, like, in the meantime, between time? I know marriage is not nowhere on your radar right now, but, like, what are you doing to just grow you, like, intentionally, like, be better? What are you doing?
I am getting back into reading my Bible, because I definitely. Go ahead.
I was gonna say napping.
No. And I'm also learning how to be by myself, and not feel so alone. Like I'm learning to no, it's okay to be by yourself, and it's okay to sit with your own feelings instead of running to somebody the second something happens, and trying to get help from other people, but help myself before I try to get other people's opinion. Actually sit and think what's going on. How do I fix it myself before I ask somebody else to fix it for me?
That's good.
Because I've learned that relying on people to fix your problems and all that,
you preaching.
It don't do nothing
for
intelligence
you. Right there. Yeah.
Because then if y'all falling out or something happens, y'all not cool no more, who do you run to? Now you by yourself and you. Yeah.
That is so good.
Hey,
that's my biggest thing right now, though.
Cash up. Now you bring.
That's so good.
That's really good. That's really good. Oh man. Boy. Okay. All right, then. So, I mean, here's one thing that is the last, but I know it ain't least. And I need this mic to be right where I can. y'all can almost smell my breath through the camera.
Hold on now.
If you planning on spending any amount of time with somebody, you seriously dating them, or you think about getting married, or you thinking about, doing something other than, high and by, you need to know what they family like. Masha. Hey, hallelujah.
So real.
Help me, Holy Ghost. I said, you need to know what they family like.
Yeah.
It's not always 100% indication of what they gonna be like.
Right.
But I guarantee you, it's gonna have some bearings on what they gonna be like.
They gonna pick up something.
They gonna pick up something, and a lot of times it's some good and some bad that they gonna pick up. You need to know how many times their mama done cut their daddy. You need to know how many times dad done snuck out the house. You need to know how they handle their emotions. You need to know how they handle disagreements in the house. Because guess what? That person you dating, this their first teacher. That's their first school. The school of home.
Helpless.
And what they see at home is what they pick up.
Mm-hmm.
And what they pick up is what they putting down. I'm preaching. Cash out. Dre Ashford. Cash out. Matter of fact, I'm going to drop the cash out at the bottom. But for real. What they pick up from their first teachers is what they gonna implement into their lives. Mm-hmm. And so it will be very foolish, very unwise to get like deep into something with somebody and they ain't take you home to see their mama and daddy or their grandmama, whoever raised them. Because that energy transfers. and you might be dealing with a bitter baby because the parents was bitter. Oh my God, I'm going a little too far. This ain't the church. Let me reel it back in. I might have some tender ears. But now let me say it, because this is Labor Love. This is my platform. You might be dealing with some bitter babies because they are some result of some bitter baby mamas. Oh my Lord.
That's that attachment.
Yeah. Your dad ain't never been around, and she been telling you he don't love you, but she really been pushing him away. And she really been saying your dad don't care about you, but he been calling, but she been sending the voicemail. And so your whole life you grew up with resentment of your dad that's ill-founded because your mama bitter. Or your whole life you saw your dad hopping from woman to woman, and so now you want to hop from woman to woman because that's all you've seen. So I need to know. I need to know who your parents. Old school. When somebody used to bring somebody to the house, they say, "Who your mama and them?"
That's it.
I know that's Gloritha's son. I know you. See, they ain't gonna say it when you're over there, but they like, yeah, I know his mama. She wild. I know her mama. If she ain't think like her mama, boy, you better not commit to her because she in them streets. She I know his daddy Jody. You better watch him. So what are you saying? I'm saying the apple really don't fall too far from the tree. So I think it's very important that whoever you talking to, like for real, hey, man, let me spend, what y'all doing at the house? Hey, let's go see what your folks like. Because you end up marrying into and tying yourself into a sick system.
Yeah. And not just mentally and emotionally, it could be the physical as well, So I definitely think that's important.
Yeah. So when you come over here, just know I'm asking who your folks.
You're gonna be cleaning your guns.
I'm gonna be cleaning my
guns. No.
So I don't know if the third thing. Well, I feel like our 2 and 3 again not the same, but they kind of coincide. I think it's important again if you're dating towards a marriage. It's so important to have the conversation about parenting. Like, what are your parenting styles, and like, how do you plan to discipline and things of that nature because, like you were mentioning how children are impacted or, home being the first teacher. Like the reality is, as parents, we are literally just preparing our children for the real world.
Mm-hmm.
And so I need to know, like, are you trying to bring over some of those generational patterns that Big Mama and them used to do, or are you trying to break some generational patterns? Because the reality is, as much as we love Big Mama, everything she did wasn't helpful. You know what I'm saying? And so what is your mindset when it comes to, like, the role of the family? Like, who's the head? Who comes after, the head of the household? Like, are you putting your children before your spouse? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you know the proper order? And how are you going to teach our children? I think that's so important because God forbid, you're around here teaching your children that they come before your spouse. You know what I'm saying? God forbid you're around here teaching your daughter that, she gonna get in and everything she want, or your son that he can go out there and just sow his royal oats and like, no.
I ain't cocky.
You know what I'm saying? but no, so like I just really think it's important to know, like, man, how do you feel about parenting?
Yeah.
How do you plan to discipline these children, and how are you gonna teach them? How are you going to be the example that you want them to follow? Because you have to be whatever you want them to be, you gotta model that for them.
That's dope.
Excuse me.
That's dope. Yeah, that coincides with that. That definitely coincides. Mm-hmm. That's a good add-on.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we got two different ideologies on like what raising a child look like, it's gonna be tough for us to really stay a unit. So I mean, that's our little tidbits. What you got over there, like anything that you have learned already? You just now really starting to date for real. And you still ain't brought the Negro over here, so we'll talk about that offline. But like, what are some lessons you've learned? Because I know you got some lessons that you learned. But what's some lessons you learned that from maybe some mistakes or some mistakes you saw somebody else make that you would just give the audience that's maybe in your age range or somebody in general that's like what I need to be on the lookout for?
One of the biggest things I have learned in the dating world, I don't really consider it dating, but in the talking world, it's not gonna be how you think. Like I think people have this idea of a picture perfect relationship, and it's never gonna be that. Like, it's never gonna be absolutely perfect. Like, it's always gonna be something wrong. And whether or not they want to fix it, now that's something completely different. But it's never going to be like this. It's not going to be like a movie. And I think that's what a lot of people expect. And that's why a lot of relationships fail, because they have this ridiculous expectation for something that's like, it's a movie. It's made up. Like, I don't know. That's like a really big thing. That's like, whew.
You got my Sarah Jakes Roberts. Girl, you preaching. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's definitely something I've learned, because, whew.
So basically you're saying don't go in blind. Just understand that we all human, we flawed, so you can't go expecting it to be perfect.
Right.
That's good. I have one final question for you as you get ready to go into the adult world, I guess, as this is your last year of high school, you'll be going to college. I know we had a conversation not too long ago. You were just like, I hope I remember this correctly, you really didn't want to date in college because it's like, just really being able to do your own thing. And the reality is sometimes things change. And so if you decide, okay, I do want to date while I'm in college, what do you want that experience to be like? What do you think needs to be true? Or what needs to be true, rather, when you actually, for real, get out there and start dating and meeting people and they trying to pick you up?
So for college specifically, I think that it needs to be a lot of trust involved, especially if we're not at the same college. Like, if we end up, like if they transfer, something like that, like whatever may happen, a lot of trust needs to be involved, because it's college. Like you're on the campus with thousands of people, and you never know what can happen. Or you're going to parties and hundreds of people there. You don't know what can happen. Like it needs to be a lot of trust, a lot of respect for your partner too. Because. So yeah, that's definitely what I would like for to be true. Like, and I need them to actually like want to be in college. I don't want nobody that's gonna play with that money because college is expensive. You come on and get right. Go on, get right. I don't want nobody wasting their time in college. I don't like that because if they wasting their time in college, they're gonna waste their time in real life too, and mine too. I'm not gonna.
Who is she?
Yeah, that's definitely. But that's if I did in college. That's not my plan.
And you don't have to. You know.
Y'all see my new youth minister?
Right.
Man, look, this conversation has been dope.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we can't hold the people too long, but I feel like there should be a part 2 to this, which I think.
I think part 2 is in order.
Yeah.
Part two. All right, JJ. Tell the people where they can find you. All
right, y'all can find me on Instagram, only Instagram. That's only where you can find me. My ad's gonna be somewhere at the bottom of the screen because I can't remember it right now. But it's gonna be somewhere on the screen so y'all can come find me.